Welcome to the Veteran Show. I'm your host, Levi Miller. And I'm waiting on my co-host, Thomas Lukin. I guess Thomas will call in after a while. No telling what Thomas doing. But on the phone today with me, I got Pete Williamson, who did some tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. Hey, Pete, how you doing today?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. How about you? Happy Easter, by the way.
Oh, yes, same to you and your family. Pete, I guess I'm doing all right for an old man. You know, I'm one of these old granddaddy soldiers. Got out in 1970. And
man, some of them old guys, man, still do it. Come on now.
Hey, Pete, would you like to tell our listener, tell us something about yourself and, where you been and anything you need to tell us.
Well, it's a long story. It's a real long story.
A long one, huh?
I started my career off. I first signed up when I was 17, and my daddy had a sign for me then. My daddy was in the 11th Airborne. And,
okay.
And he said, "You sure you want to go in the Army?" And he said, "Absolutely." He said, "Are you sure that's what you want to do?" He said, "I'm telling you." Now, my dad was 11th Airborne during the Korean War. And
okay.
he said, "All right." He said, "Well, I'll sign for you if that's what you want to do." But I signed when I was 17, but I didn't go in until I was 18. And,
okay.
As soon as I graduated high school, and I was gone. I mean, within 6 days of graduating, I was headed to basic training at Fort Dix.
Okay. So you took basic in Dix. What about your AIT?
AIT, I went to Fort Lee, which was back then they used to call it was like a resort. And golf courses and whatnot. But I was quartermaster and
where are you?
Supply guy.
So
and, I went to Petroleum Supply Special School there, and this is back in '84.
okay. So is Fort Lee like the resort, like you said? I heard some talk about Fort Lee.
I'm gonna tell you, it's the best kept secret in the Army. I just let it out now.
Oh, you can let it out now, huh?
Man, I'll tell you what, it was one of my, aside of being over in Germany, I would say that was one of my best duty assignments. And I live probably about 15 minutes away from Fort Lee, so, since I'm retired, I'd go down there and use commissary and whatnot. And it's actually where the U.S. Army's Ordnance School is now. They
okay.
transferred down from Maryland. They opened up the Ordnance School down there in Fort Lee, so it's expanded quite a bit. And a lot of good young folks going in down there. A little bit different training than we went through. They didn't have brown rounds when I was in AIT, but I believe I just heard through Army Times that they're going to bring the brown rounds back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, P, I call that the new Army now. I know things done a lot different than, when I was there, and probably when you were there, too.
They're smarter than us, though, I'm going to tell you. I'm telling you, the youngins know their stuff.
Right.
When I couldn't do anything on a computer,
right.
I grabbed one of the young ones. Come over here, so show me how to do this real quick.
Hey, Pete,
don't tell nobody you showed me.
Pete, that's what I do with my son. You know what I mean? They know all the technology. And what were your MOS?
I was when I first went in, it was 76 whiskey. And,
okay.
Then it got changed to 77 Foxtrot, and then it changed to 92 Foxtrot. But for whatever reason, it seemed like I kept getting stuck in engineer units. And
okay.
I'm not talking about heavy equipment. I'm talking about combat engineering units. And,
wow.
They really didn't care if you were a quartermaster. You go to an engineering unit in combat, you basically you're gonna do what they do, and you're gonna be a combat engineer. That's what you're gonna be.
Right.
They don't care if you're a medic or a supply clerk. You train the same way they train, because they don't want to have to pick yourself up off the ground. If something goes wrong, they want to know that you can do what they can do.
Right.
So, for whatever reason, I kept getting stuck in engineering units, and so the engineer is always going to be my heart.
Okay, right.
My career, I spent in engineers.
Okay. So how many years in service did you do?
20 years, 6 months, 3 days.
Oh man! Oh, you got to count it down to days, right? So
I could have stayed. They asked me to stay a little bit longer. They asked me if they want me because I retired out of the National Guard
Okay.
I did about half my time active duty, the other half the time I did National Guard. And they wanted me to stand up another unit. They were getting ready to stand up down South Boston. And I just felt it was time for me to move on and let some of the young guys come up. And I was getting older, I was
Right.
50 years old, and it was getting hard on me. And I saw a lot of, and in the Guard, if you're occupying a spot, it's not like active duty, they can't promote next to you. You're taking a spot. So I decided, it was time to move on, let one of the younger folks come on up there and start to progress in his career. So that's why I made my decision. I've done my time. I've done 3 tours of combat.
Wow.
I've had a pretty good career, and a few bad times, a few bumps in the road here and there. I'm sure every good NCO's had a Article 15 here or there. That's another story. But
Yeah. You know how that go, Pete. Right. You know how the Article 15 go. But
you're not a good NCO unless you've had an Article 15.
There you go.
I guess I had to prove it. Okay, well, I'll get one too.
Hey, you don't want to be left out, huh, Pete?
That's right.
Wow. Hey, Pete, you know what? It looked like when I was in service, the National Guard didn't go nowhere. But it look like now, the National Guard be the first one to, be the first one to go to the war zone.
Well, it's a changing entity. When I first went in the Guard, it was a lot of partying, and they didn't train as hard. But now they're actually they're extending the days of, especially combat arms units, and
Right.
they want to be able to stand up a brigade probably within 90 days.
Okay.
And I'm talking about fully capable combat brigade. You want to stand them up in about 90 days. And before it was taking anywhere from 5, maybe even 6 months before you could actually get the unit up and ready to go and actually in theater and in combat. And they're trying to lessen the time. It also saves money. It's cheaper to pay somebody if you can train them for 5 days a week or 5 days a month, and then a couple weeks, 3 weeks in the summertime, and by the time it comes for your rotation to go for tour of duty, you go to maybe down to Texas, or I don't know if this one's still open there at Fort Dix, but Fort Asbury, something like that, and just go there for your initial issue, and you have the unit stood up and ready to go within 90 days. I think that's what their goal is. That's what they're going to with the National Guard. They're trying to integrate the Guard with the active duty forces as much as they can. And I'm gonna tell you, it's hard on a guardsman. You not only, especially as a senior leader, you have to be able to do a lot of work on your own. You don't get paid for it. This is work you're doing on your own.
Is it? Okay.
You have to take care of your soldiers all the time. It's not, okay, I'm leaving. My weekend's done, and I'll see you next month. It's not like that anymore.
Okay.
It's different Army now.
Yeah, it used to be the weekend. You're a weekend soldier, but now.
Not anymore. You have in the senior leader jobs, all the way from squad leader on up. You take care of your soldiers, even in your off time. And on top of that, you got to train yourself. You have to be able to do physical fitness. So you have to do that on your own. You're not doing unit physical fitness, like in an active duty unit. Okay. What the Guard does, and the reserves brings a lot to the table. Mm-hmm. They're bringing real life skills. They're bringing. You've got truck drivers, you've got police officers, you've got prison guards.
Right.
People own their own businesses. You have satellite techs. Good story. A friend of mine, Master Sergeant Schultz, was a master in satellite technology. Second trip over in Iraq in 2004. Basically, the active duty was knocking on his boots door 24/7, asking him questions. How do I want to do this? How do I wire this? We're trying to get comms up. And he was a satellite tech in the civilian world.
Okay.
And the guy was just a master at his job. So, he brought that to the table, and that's what the Guard does. We're not up to the pars, like we're not up to the standards of an active
Okay.
But give us a few weeks, and we'll be ready to go. And a lot of the guys are prior service. You got a lot of prior service guys in the Guard, and the Guard does first line jobs all the time. I mean, I had a guy say, "Why didn't you think the Guard ever fought any fights?" And I was thinking, well, I pulled the trigger on a few people, and we've been in some scraps, and I'm gonna tell you, I'll be honest with you, every trip I went, we have not brought anybody home. We lost.
Wow.
That's part of the job.
Right. Cause like in the old days, National Guard, they just did the weekend, but I got a couple of friends in the National Guard, and they tell me the same thing. They get shipped out, going overseas, and everything. And
it's, and that's the thing, we're, like I said, the active duty, they're well trained, but sometimes they might not get some of the training we get.
Right.
When we go to train, before we deploy, we usually train up to about 5 months. And
okay.
That's like a crash course. You're talking about basic training and combat maneuvers, whatever your job is going to be overseas. Like my last trip, I went to Afghanistan with a route clearance. So basically, we were doing route clearance training before we left.
Okay.
And there's a whole lot to that. I mean, I'll be talking Chinese to a lot of people, but sexy. They call it, it's crazy, but it's called sexy teams, and it's almost like CSI.
Okay.
Doing route clearance over there, and I was a 92 Foxtrot, I was a supply guy, but I was still in the field.
Okay.
I was out there with the engineers, and I was doing the job that they were doing, and so there's a lot that goes with it, and there's a lot of extra training that the National Guard has to go through to make sure that they don't want to see us go out there and fail. They want to see us go out there and win.
Right.
And that's where the Army is gearing towards now. They're putting money into the training of the reserves and National Guard, and they're implementing us into the active duty forces.
Oh, okay.
And where we used to didn't get a lot of respect from the active duty,
right?
They thought we were a joke.
Right.
And I was active duty the first time I went over there, and I'll be honest with you, I thought the National Guard was a joke.
Oh yes, back in the days, that was thinking back in the days, but my mind had changed because I've been talking to my friends; they've been shipped over to the war zone and everything.
And now it's a different ballgame now, and like I said, a lot of National Guard guys that I've deployed with, they've been deployed, a lot of the men, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and
wow.
They have a lot of combat experience. They have a lot of lifetime experience, and so it's not like you're not sending somebody over there that's well, I'm going 1 weekend a month, and I barely know how to load my weapon. It's not like that at all.
So that weekend soldier is out, right?
Well, I mean, my last unit, I was the 1st Battalion, 116th Infantry, and that's 29th Infantry Division. And the standards of that unit are so high, and if anybody knows the history of the 29th, that was the same unit that took Omaha Beach on June 6, 44.
Right.
The very same unit. It was a National Guard unit that took Omaha Beach. And the standards of that unit are so high, and it's an infantry unit, and you actually have to know the history. They make you learn the history of the unit.
Okay.
And you have to know what they did, where they're at. And Alpha Company, which is where the memorial is in Bedford, Virginia, they lost nearly every man on the assault of that beach.
Right.
And that's why the D-Day memorial is in Bedford, Virginia, but that's why there's a National Guard unit, Alpha Company 116th Infantry.
Okay. Well, Pete, by going overseas, isn't that a hardship on your family? I know the family, if you like me, depend on your income, and then next thing you know, you being shipped out.
I can tell you, it cost me my marriage.
hey, Peter, I can understand that, huh?
I say I wasn't married for the first time I went over, but I was married in the second time I went over, 04, 05, and it's a lot to it, I don't think she knew what exactly she was getting into.
Right.
incident that I can remember. I was 276 engineers when I was in Mosul in 2004.
Okay.
We had a suicide bomber on the entire town hall.
Right.
December 21st, and he blew himself up and he killed some of our people. And we had an embedded reporter with us, and he was the one that actually snapped all the pictures of Richmond Times Dispatch. If you go online, you can pull up 276 engineers Mosul bombing in 2004 on December 21st, and it'll show a lot of pictures. Now, the guy that took the pictures was Richmond Times Dispatch photographer, and he was embedded with us. But anyways, the family had gotten news that the unit was attacked and that we had lost people.
Okay.
And she was in complete hysterics. I mean, because she didn't know whether I was alive or dead for 3 days.
Right.
Because they wouldn't release the information. They just wouldn't do it, and they would wait until the families got notified who was killed. And then it affected me. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, I know it did. Wow.
Oh, yeah, it was bad. The first time I went over in the Gulf War, like I said, it was a cakewalk.
So your first tour was in the Gulf War?
No, the first one I went to was Gulf War, which I never saw any action in the first Gulf War. Nothing.
Okay.
I mean, I saw Sam. That's where I saw the first one.
Well, Pete, tell me something about the Gulf War. You know, I'm one of them old soldiers from the old days. You know, so I learned a lot now from you all. You know, so
I would say that was one of the most awesome displays of logistics I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
And it gave me a new respect for Marines.
Mm-hmm.
When they say improvise, adapt, and overcome,
right.
Basically, our equipment got sent over there, a lot of our Humvees and whatnot, and it beat us there.
Oh, the equipment beat you there, huh? Okay.
So, you know, the equipment beat us there, but the Marines were already there, so they said, we're going to adapt, improvise, and overcome.
Right.
They took our trucks.
Oh, they took your truck. Okay.
They took our trucks, you know. It's probably you and German, so we're going to go ahead and blow wow.
Right. Well, I know it's pretty dangerous over that, but you know, anytime, I don't care what war you're in or what you're doing, it's always dangerous for a soldier.
I mean, you know, I lost a good friend of mine over there. Yes, Steve Hansen. One of the best NCOs I ever knew, but he was in a different unit. He was, I want to say he was 15th Engineers out of Fort Leonardwood. And he ended up going over there. He ended up getting killed at the minefield. Hell of a good guy. I mean, just one of the best NCOs you ever. And he was with me over. I was in Alpha Company, 12th Engineers and 8th Infantry Division out of Germany. And hell of a good guy, though. Just a really nice guy. Good with his soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Could outdrink anybody I knew. But anyway, he ended up, of course, you know, he ended up he lost his life going after two of the soldiers.
Okay.
And the story I got was a couple of guys had gotten they were out checking out some Iraqi trucks or something or other, and he ended up going out there trying to get them because they realized they were in a minefield, and he ended up stepping in a mine and lost his life over there.
Oh yeah, 'cause I heard, you know, it's a lot of minefields, you know, during the tours over there.
Trust me.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine that just being on your mind all the time too.
I mean, even in Afghanistan, it was the same thing. And a couple of different times, there's a lot of mines out there, and shocked the heck out of me on the Bagram. I flew in the Bagram. They got signs everywhere, minefield. You know, don't walk through the minefield. And they had these guys come in, and I don't know who they were. They were a contractor company. I don't know how much they paid them.
Okay.
They weren't Americans, though. They were from another country, but they were out there trying to find mines out there. And the Russians had just buried them everywhere. You'd be sitting there eating chow, and next thing you hear, you know, a triple stat going off, just boom, everybody's going under the table.
Well,
but I've always, you know, I just look up and look at everybody going under the table, and you know, I said, if it ain't coming through the chow hall law, I said, I'm not stopping to eat.
Right.
I'm gonna keep on eating my food, man.
So what were the difference between, you know, I know all of it was dangerous, between the Gulf and Afghanistan?
Oh,
Okay.
It was Army against Army, and it was just absolutely no match. They had no idea how deadly we were, and most of the world doesn't realize this. The American military, not just the Army, I'm talking about the Marine Corps, the Navy, the Air Force, as a whole, there's nobody that can stand to us. I don't care what anybody says. I've seen it.
I definitely believe that.
We walk over people. If they tell us to go, we'll go, and don't stop until we get to that phase line. I'm going to tell you, there's going to be some people going, oh my Jesus, we have made a mistake.
Oh yeah, I know we have the best military, I know in the world. And some of the weapons that, they have now, man, I can't even believe it. They got all kind of different weapons.
And a lot of it's like getting higher, it's a lot of high tech stuff now.
Right, it's technology, that's right.
Back in the day, for us, technology was, pull pin, throw frag.
Right.
Now it's just, everything's computerized. It's like, my goodness.
And that's what I heard. Everything computerized. Even tanks, they computerized too, right?
The tanks over there, what I understand is I've done a little studying here and there, and one of the tankers could probably go into more of the technology than I can. But what I understood was they could target 5, 6 targets, and paint the targets, and the computer system would just pick the closest threat and annihilate them within seconds, as fast as the gun at the load.
You got to be kidding.
Can fire. I mean, that to me that was amazing. And they put their best tanks against us. They put the T-72s.
Right.
So they had T-80s. And our guys just annihilated. They had absolutely no chance.
And that's
no chance against them.
And that's what been the mothers of all wars, right? We just took it over.
Pretty much. I mean, but then you get into something like Iraq.
Right.
With 4 or 5, 2003, you get into an insurgency. And,
mm-hmm.
You can't. Well, you can use tanks. I've seen tanks used in Baji, but you get mortar fire from outside the wire. Obviously, you can't use a 155 or a Paladin to wipe out a city block.
Right.
Killing innocent civilians or creating more insurgents. So you have to do other things. And I know that. After a second left, first of 25th came in there, and they were using sniper teams.
Okay.
So they would go out there, and sometimes I'd run the gate, and I ran Bravo gate, and they'd tell me to call me on a steelhead Yankee, call me on the radio. I said, go ahead and shut the lights off. And I knew what that meant, And about maybe 20, 30 minutes later, four guys come walking out of the game, one man with a long rifle, and I said, we're going hunting.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they were doing. And, they were saving our lives. I mean, they were saving lives. They could go out there in the city and sit up at a designated point where, they get intel the mortars coming from here. Because they were smart now.
Right.
The Iraqis would come up with a pickup truck with a mortar tube in the back of a pickup covered. And we couldn't see it. From the air, we just look at the covered truck and pull the cover back and drop 10, 15 mortars on it within a couple of minutes. And so our guys got smart. We went out there and they started sending sniper teams out there, putting them up in a high perch. And as soon as they got eyes on, they started taking these people out. Well, it stopped after that. No more problems.
Had no more problem after that, huh?
Well, it's a different war. It's a different war. You're fighting insurgency.
Right.
You fight army on army.
Right.
And this breaks my heart. I was in Mosul, and we fought so hard for it. We lost so many guys, wounded and killed.
Right.
And just to give it up like we gave it up, man, it was just heartbreaking. Now we're going to fight for it again. In the same bridges, I was on Bridge 5, Bridge 3.
Okay.
Fighting on both of them bridges, with the engineers. And just to watch us give that territory up and have to fight for it again, man, it's heartbreaking.
Wow. Well, Pete, in Iraq, do y'all have to do a lot of house-to-house searches?
I never did. Me personally, I never did any of that. Some of the line companies did, Alpha Bravo Charlie.
Okay.
I know they did. Me personally, I was trained for it, never did it, thank God. And that's just something that, for me, a house search is, I'm a hauler in a house, and If there are any kids in there, you better get out because there's a tank coming up the street and your house is getting ready to be in the ground.
Right.
That'd be my house search. I'm not going into the house.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. But people, when it came time to passes, man, where did y'all go? Y'all just had to stay on the base or what?
No, we would get specific missions. Just when I was in Afghanistan, I ran a lot of they call them clip missions.
Okay.
Combat logistics patrols, and we would. I ran a heavy truck section.
Okay.
And basically had I think it was 9 or 10 trucks, tractor trailers, and PLSs, and we would transport whatever containers and vehicles and tons. And then sometimes I'd get tasked out to do. We'd take a 916 up armor as a drop deck, and we would go with route clearance package (RCP), and we would go out with them, and while they were doing their sweeps, finding mines. The reason we took those trucks out there with the drop decks is because we would lose probably 2 to 3 vehicles either from maintenance or get destroyed out on a sweep, and any typical sweep. We were prime targets.
Oh yeah.
They knew what we were doing, and they didn't want us to find their stuff, and they did everything to stop us from finding their stuff. But we were saving lives, and that's the way I looked at it. I said, we're saving lives, man. I said, it's worth it to come out here. It's not just American lives, but Afghan National Army lives. We're saving civilian lives, going out there and finding their stuff. And I've seen civilians killed, hitting those IEDs and a lot of pressure plates and whatnot. But pretty much, you just get your mission,
right,
and find out what RCP you're going to go with, and you meet up with their PL team leader, and he said, you guys need to be here. We'll go through our rock drills, and this is our call sign. Give all your information, and of course we get all our comms up and make sure you got all your ammo and maintenance stuff and whatnot. We're going to be going for 2 weeks, and I love it.
So you love it?
I don't sound crazy. I love it. I love going outside the wire.
Wow.
Because it made time go by so fast.
Oh yeah, it do make it go by fast. And hey Pete, what kind of terrain is Afghan? Is that mountains or hilly area? Because most things I see, they showing the mountains and stuff.
I think it varies on where you're at. I mean, in the southern part of the country, I think it's a lot of wide open. Now, it is like Wazapwa. It's pretty wide open. It's not sand; it's more like a dirt. And you get into Paktika province. It's more up in the mountains.
Okay.
They actually have a fight named after Pat Tillman. I don't know if you know that. He was a football player who got killed.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember who he went in. Yeah, he got killed. Right, he was a professional football player.
They actually have a five. I don't even know if it's still open. It's been a while since I've been, but they have 5 Tillman was up there. I know it was a hairy spot. It was up in the mountains. So it depended. It just where they want us to do the clearance. I was part of Task Force Pilot. And,
okay.
276 engineers, and we had 4 staffer companies, a Ford Sport company, a headquarters company, and so we would get tasked out. One RCP is approximately 30 to 35 soldiers.
Okay.
And with support guys, you got maintenance guys. Now I'm gonna tell you,
right.
Hats off to the maintenance guys. Anybody thinks that hey man, I'm going to the military and work on trucks or whatever, and I'm gonna be safe. I'm gonna do this for you. They're out there in the front. They're doing that deal, and I've actually had to recover maintenance vehicles where the guys got killed.
Right.
And so your mechanics are out there doing that deal, man. They're in the trenches, they're fighting, and I'm gonna tell you, it's not safe. They have to get out under fire and recover vehicles.
Oh man.
Yes. So not only do you have to know how to use your weapon, use your tools, you got to know how to use your weapon too.
Wow.
So like I said, it's all one big team. Doesn't matter what your MOS. Your MOS is empty. That's your MOS.
Yeah, Pete. I tell a lot of people that too. Yeah, I told you, everybody got a part to do. No matter what you are, in the army or the military, everybody got a part to do. And like you said, it's one big team
have seen, I've actually seen females, and this is when I was in Iraq.
Okay.
They were absolutely the most fiercest fighters I've ever. I'm scared to death of them.
You know, I'm going to ask you that, Pete.
My gosh.
Hey, Pete, I'm going to ask you that because when I was in service, you didn't have females active duty. They was known to act wax then. They wore the little brown dresses and everything. And when I first heard, you know, that females not in combat, man, it kind of flipped my mind, Pete.
Well, they're out there.
Uh-huh.
And, they're with us every day. And like I said, they're training just like us. And anybody who says that they can't hold their own, I got news for you. I have seen them hold their own.
They can hold it
I'm
on.
scared of them. So they can shoot too.
Hey, Pete, that sounds like my wife at home. I'm scared of her. You know.
Man, hey.
Wow. So they fight right beside you and everything.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Oh yeah.
Wow, man.
Now,
Huh.
you know, I've heard a lot of things. Well, they got these issues and they got these issues. And these. I'm gonna tell you, when you're out there in the field, you don't give two craps about, those kind of issues.
Right.
If you got issues about that, you shouldn't be in the military anyway.
Okay.
Because you need to just be worrying about taking care of your buddies and staying alive.
That's true.
That's your issue. Taking
Right.
care of your buddies and staying alive.
Right. You got to watch each other.
About that stuff. Now, I just heard, they can't hack it. I'm going to tell you, I've had some females that can take a PT test, and I was just going, either I'm getting really old, or
Right.
they're getting really damn good.
And they were putting out, huh, Pete?
I'm going to tell you, man, it was moving. I was like, I don't know if I can get my car to follow her as fast as she's running.
Yeah. Well, I heard they're good soldiers, you know. And
Well, they want to be there.
Right. So.
They want to be there. That's the thing. And as an NCO, as a non-commissioned officer,
Uh-huh.
that's what I look for.
Okay.
I don't give crap what your race is,
Right.
your gender, or nothing. You want to be there. You want to be part of the team. As far as I'm concerned, you're my family.
Yeah, and that's what I look at people. You know, we all green. You know what I mean? That green army color. We all green. You know, I heard some people say they had racial trouble, but when I was there, man, our outfit, we were very, very tight. We had people from different races. Hey, Pete, and we used to go out there party hard when we ever got past it. You know what I mean?
And that's the best part about the military. And honestly, I wish if we could teach this to the rest of the country.
Oh yes.
What we know and how we feel.
Right.
We wouldn't have no problems, man.
That's right.
We wouldn't have no problems at all. We would have no problems in this country at all.
I know Thomas is
if they could feel what we feel about each other,
right.
what we do for each other, and that's where that's the one thing. If anybody asks me, what do you miss the most? I said I miss my soldiers, and I miss the camaraderie that we had, that bond. Because man, I'm gonna tell you something. I got bonds with family with military people that I don't have with my own family, man.
Yeah, and that's true, Pete. You have your best friends. You know why you in service and everything. Then when you come home, man, it's just something different. You know when you're in a group together, man, everybody together, everybody have a good time together. We can say something to each other, no one get mad. You know, we just all laugh about it. You know, it was just a bunch. It was a bunch of fun. Bunch of fun.
Well, that's the best part because it was mostly all fun.
Right.
If I said something derogatory towards someone, I would expect them to say something derogatory towards me because I'd be like,
right.
What's wrong with you, man?
Right, man.
It's like, now.
Yeah. Man, we used to make little jokes all the time, but everybody laugh about, it was a different, and that's the thing I missed when I came back home. It wasn't like, the camaraderie, it wasn't there like it was in service. Cause I met some very, very good friends, man. I run through a wall for them.
Well, I mean, you remember, Ron, I was, like, I'm sure it was the same thing in Korea. When I was stationed in Germany, and I was in 12th Engineers in Germany,
Okay.
I know that if one of our guys didn't have money,
Right.
it was a weekend, you know what we do? Hey man, don't worry about it. Come on, let's go. We go on the train and going downtown. Don't worry about it.
That's right. We'd be mad if you don't go. You know what I mean? It didn't matter who had the money. You know, somebody had. You know, we're gonna all go. We're gonna all go together.
And this is how we roll.
Right. That's what we do it. Huh.
One big happy family.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, my guys from 8th ID, I have a special love for them, and everybody that was in the Panasonic division. It's the same. I don't know why, you know, that division. I'm in a couple different groups.
Okay.
And we stay in touch.
Right.
And even though we've only done a few years together, we never even served in combat together. Well,
right.
Some of us have, but I didn't go with 8th ID when they went over. They sent some of the engineers over to the First Gulf War, but I didn't get on that trip. I was already headed back to the States by the time I was already in the States when that happened. So I got sent out of Fort Lee to go overseas, and but the bond that we had from the 8th ID is so strong. We still keep in touch with each other, and I was wearing, this is no lie now, I was wearing a shirt, and it's got Crazy 8 on with arrow in it. It's called Crazy 8.
Crazy 8, okay.
And it was Veterans Day or something like that. I was in Haynes buying furniture, and sure as shit, this guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, Crazy 8s." And I looked around, looks at me, he says, "Man," he says, "you're getting kind of old, ain't you?" But that's how deep it goes. I'm like, my God, man, I said, how did you recognize that?
Right.
And he told me, he said, "Yeah, I was a Crazy 8, man." I said, "Oh my God."
Wow. So how were your tour in Iraq?
Iraq, 04, 05, I'm gonna tell you, it was bloody. Just got awful bloody.
Oh, did it? Okay.
We lost a lot of guys, and so our unit, you know, when I was in 276 Engineers, we won a Valorous Unit Award for action combat and Meritorious Unit Citation for action combat, and we won another one in Afghanistan. So that battalion I was with, we won 2 Valorous Unit Awards. That's the one you were on the right side.
Right.
And doggone good unit, good boys, but I just, you know, I got my own personal opinions about some of that stuff that happened over there.
Right.
I thought we could have done a little bit better.
Uh-huh.
You know, I was almost like, what's the mission?
Right. So.
You know, that's where I was like, you know, what is the mission? What do you want us to do? And it was like almost no direction. It was, you know, well, we want you to go down here today. Go down here, you know. The only big mission that I thought was well worth it was during elections. We were actually helping set up some of the voting polls.
Okay.
And we were pulling security on them. And I just remember, believe it or not, you know, and this is a terrible thing to say, but I was in my 30s and back then. I had never voted in my life.
Okay.
Ever. Until I was 30, probably 36.
Okay.
And when I came home, I voted because the Iraqi people, for them to vote, they had to take their phone and put it in this purple ink, put it on this card. And we were getting intel that some of the insurgents, that they were killing these people.
Right.
And I said, you know something? I said, these people are standing in line, taking it, and trying to vote, trying to make a difference in our country. And if they got guts enough to stand up there and know that they're going to probably, you know, get chastised and murdered for it, I said, and I felt so bad. I said, you know, I never voted for like that. You know, I mean, never really thought about it.
Right.
But I'm just going to, you know, I always let you girls put my vote for me.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you, after I came home, man, I said, I will never do that again.
So you going to vote,
I
right?
voted.
So in Iraq, how were the people over there? How did they treat you all?
I thought they were pretty friendly.
Okay.
Me personally, you know, most they just want to live like us, man. They just, you know, they want to have a family and you know, they want to make money. They want to live a peaceful life.
Right.
The ones over there now, ISIS, that are, you know, they're beheading people and they're just totally evil.
Right.
They're, you know, raping young girls and stuff like that.
I heard about that.
You know, we need to eradicate them. They're scum of the earth.
There you go.
This is worth fighting for. This is worth fighting for. Even though it's not in our country.
Right.
When I see stuff like this, you know, I want to go over there and help them.
I know it upsets you. Yeah. You know, no matter who they are, that would upset you.
Not for oil, not for land.
Right.
Not for money. I'm talking about for moral rights of people that cannot defend themselves. That's why we should fight. That's the only reason why we should fight. I mean, that's my personal opinion.
I totally believe in that too. 'Cause I know when I was overseas, you know, it was a lot different. We really have it made where we in the United States, you know, compared to them.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, you would think Iraq is, you know, they're fairly sophisticated. I mean, they are. They have, you know, they have highways. Now, Afghanistan, whole another ball game.
Oh, okay.
We got like, I don't know, 1 or 2 paved highways in the whole country, and they have their gas station consists of a 2-liter bottle of Pepsi filled with gas.
No, come on, Pete, for real.
A lot of you know.
What?
They live in mud houses called collides. I just thought they were so backwards. And I had a guy tell me this before I went over. He said, "You're gonna think you step back in the 17th century." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." And literally, I mean, it was just like hundreds of years difference in the way we live to the way they live.
Right.
But they're happy with it, and they're actually, you know, the Afghan people are really, really decent people.
Okay.
And they're the type of people that if you didn't have anything to eat, they would, even though they're poor, you know, they would try to feed you. They would give you food.
Oh,
okay. Hey, sit down, break bread, you know, let's eat.
Right.
And a lot of the Afghani people are just, like I said, just like us. They just want to live peacefully, you know, have a wife, kids, you know,
okay.
watch a soccer match or whatever. But I just thought it was, you know, the irony of it is I came back here and, you know, I see 2 people fighting over a parking place at freaking Walmart.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, they do that all the time. Over there, they do that too. You know, I see some of the crazy stuff.
You should have just come from where I came from. I said, Walmart.
Right.
It was, you know, it was funny. We let them in our chow hall. They're soldiers. And thank God for the U.S. military that they would have these elaborate buffets set out for us. And some of the best food I've ever had. And anything you want to eat. Basically, anything you want to eat. And the Afghan National Army would come in there. And they were just shocked. They couldn't believe that people actually live like this.
Wow, you know, I can imagine.
Oh, yeah. They were just like, must be like the richest people ever. You know, we were eating steak and lobster and stuff like that. You know,
right.
Certain days of the week, you know, eggs any way you want them. And of course, it wasn't like in the first Gulf War, you know, I had green eggs and ham.
Right.
Like everybody else did. We didn't have any fancy restaurants over there in the first one.
Well, what you all eating then? What you call it, MREs or something? It was C ration. It was C ration back in my days.
I tried not to eat them.
I heard it was bad. It was some soldier been telling me, huh?
You know, the funny thing is, I used to give, they give it to us. If you're on like a muta 4 or 5 or something like that,
right?
They would give us these MREs, and I would take them home, and give them to my friends, and they thought they were the greatest things.
You kidding?
And I'm just thinking, I don't want to curse, but you're not going to crap for a week after you get cheese.
What? Hey, Pete, what did it all taste the same? How did it taste?
Some of them were pretty good. You know, actually, I love the chili mac.
Okay.
It was one of my favorite ones. I love the chili mac. I take my crackers and crumble up, put them in there, and you know, use up the best way you could. And in the first one, in the first Gulf War, you know, that's all we had.
Right.
We didn't have all these fancy cell phones. We didn't, you know, you waited. If you got to make a phone call, you're lucky.
Right.
You know, these tents, you know,
Oh, man.
Hey, man. And, the soldiers, some of the soldiers were, bitching about the housing. I was like, dude, you live in a container with an AC unit in it. And I said, I lived in sand on a cot
Right.
for 8 months.
For 8 months.
And I was happy.
Right.
I was happy I had a cot, man. I said, the grunts were living in foxholes, They were,
Oh, yeah.
They were living oh, God. They were living out there in the dirt.
Yeah.
I said, back in the day, we had of course, we didn't have any TV or anything, but I rigged up a Sony Walkman I had, and my wife sent me.
Okay.
And ex-wife.
Yeah. Okay. Tell you went over. You told me about her, right?
She sent me a Sony Walkman, and I wired it up, and I took some commo wire, and I took a camouflage pole and stacked it, and I took the spreader, put it on there, and I put the commo wire, taped around. I ran it down the pole, and I connected it to where the antenna was down in my Walkman, and we could pick up the BBC. And we would sit around, and I turned up as loud as I could turn it up, and we would sit around and try to pick up the BBC and try to pick up some information about what was going on. This is prior to Desert Storm. This is Desert Shield while we were there.
Right. Okay.
And that was basically the only information that we had. Every once in a while, somebody snuck a Stars and Stripes up our way, and everybody would read. Like, you'd have to break it into sections, like, I want the sports, I want the comics, I want the main page, entertainment.
Right.
And and then you had we called it any soldier mail, and the people would send us letters and whatnot. It was any soldier, and the single guys would take the letters and smell them and see if they smell like perfume. That's the only ones that they would open.
Oh.
That was good.
People, what was your feeling, the first time in the war zone? How did it make you feel? Were you scared or what?
No, I was young. I didn't give a crap.
Okay, right.
After we've been there so long. I was just like, all right, let's get this over with so I can go home and drink some beer, man, because we've been here a long time, and the natives are getting restless. I just want to get it over with. I really wasn't scared.
Okay, right.
We knew what was going on. I was up close to the border, but when they told us to get down into the bunkers, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, maybe something like that.
Oh yeah.
We had to get down in the bunkers, and you could just hear the sorties coming overhead. I mean, we must have had every plane we owned headed towards Iraq and Kuwait, and then the bombing started, and
right.
The entire sky was just lit. It was, you might as well, you didn't need a flashlight. I mean, you could see where you were walking just from the lighting from the bombing strikes. And I just remember NCO saying, "Well, I guess we'll be getting ours next." What are you talking about? So when they're done, I'm sure they're going to start firing back at us. Of course
right.
they did. Nothing happened. And we never, we had one unit that got hit, 14 Corps mass attachment,
okay.
Pennsylvania, and they were supposed to come up to our five stone, and they ended up taking a Scud missile direct hit and wiped out the entire unit before they got there to us. I can't remember how many. It was like 28 killed and 90 some wounded, something like that. And I was just down there like a couple of days before that,
right.
Talking to the commander, and we were talking about making arrangements about how to move their stuff up to us. And they were supposed to set up our five stone, and they never made it. Just the entire unit got wiped out in one shot.
Okay. Well, Pete, was there any kind of chemical, when you was in desert storms? I know some oil wells got blown, right?
No, I mean, not that I know. I mean, we had I can't remember what they're N2 chemical, whatever it is, sniffer, and they went off. They did go off.
Okay.
Not just one, several. And they came back and they told us that, it's nothing, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Now, I never got sick personally.
Okay.
And when they started burning the oil fields, and I've got pictures of it, and it flew out, and it just looks like blackness.
Right.
Just coming at you. And then when it finally reached us, I mean, it was horrid. uniform is soaked in oil. I mean, you can hardly walk around with a cravat on. Cravat is
right.
a sling in your medic pack, and you had to put a cravat on your face, and I just remember you had to throw your uniforms away. They were just ruined after that. Everything was just soaked in oil. It's like a oil storm.
Man, that sound crazy there, huh? Wow, so you all had to inhale that stuff too.
Well, I probably feel a lot worse now than I work at.
So a lot worse, Pete.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is.
Wow, because some of my friends were telling me about when the oil well get blowed and all that pollution that coming from the oil well. And then you all had to fight them sandstorm too, correct?
Oh yeah. I've got a lot of film footage of that. I think they called it a shamal, something like that. I thought it was worse. I was up on the Syrian border, and we were building border forts, and we hadn't eaten anything decent in a while. This is 4 or 5, and that's why I was 276 engineers. We were building the border forts up there,
right,
to stop the insurgents from crossing over from Syria. And funny story, I tell people, I said, so what country have you been to? And I told them I was in Syria. They said, you're in Syria? I said, yeah, for about 5 minutes. They crossed the border. We were on the wrong side,
Oh, man, you got to be kidding.
Oh, yeah. They muted us and greeted us, too.
Oh, he's on the wrong side.
Oh, yeah. They're actually pretty friendly people, They're like, oh, hey, what are you guys doing? This is actually Syria. You're in the wrong place.
I guess that'll wake you up. You're right.
So anyways, like saying that, the storms over there are so bad. We haven't had anything good to eat in a while. It was kind of cold. I want to say it was probably October maybe. And I had a fuel truck. Of course, there's nothing to burn. And I would take these gigantic mud balls and soak them with Jet A. Just soak them.
Okay.
We would burn them. And that's how we would stay warm. We'd stay warm just by burning these fuel balls that I made. And anyways, we finally got an MKT up there, and that's mobile kitchen trailer. And the cooks came up there, and this guy, I can't remember his name. He's just hilarious. Funny cook, and he ended up getting wounded while he was hitting that rear end with a piece of shrapnel.
So Pete, what did it get hot over there during the daytime and cold at night, or what?
Oh, it was freezing at night. Freezing.
I heard that.
It was like, it was really, really cold. That's where we were burning stuff in these pits.
Okay.
I was trying to stay warm, and this is when I was up on the border.
And I always thought it was a hot country.
In the daytime, it's smoking. In the daytime, it's just smoking hot. And anyways, like I said about the MKT, they brought this MKT up there. We're finally going to get this awesome meal. The guys were cooking it all day, and you guys are going to love it. And here comes this freaking sandstorm. And it ruined everything. We ate it anyway. Dirt off.
Oh, y'all sleep out in the open with the sandstorm, huh?
Man, I'm gonna tell you what, man. That cook was just hilarious. When we were burning stuff in this big old, this pit, we had over, we had all our cots sitting around it. He ends up, he said he thought it was the burn pit. We had another pit on the side. It was full of a bunch of trash. He thought it was a trash pit.
Right.
And why he threw these cans of beans in there, for the life of me, I'll never understand. So I get up in the morning and we're sitting around, and the guy, Sergeant First Class Timberlake's his name, and he's like, hey Pete, go get us some fuel, man. He said, get some fire going so we get warm. And I got up and I started walking away, and those cans of beans had been in there, and they were just cooking. And he's standing there trying to warm his hands up.
Wow. So
that beans dripping off his head.
That is crazy.
I couldn't stop laughing. He thought I did it. He's like, you son of a, and I was like, no, man, I know what you're doing.
Well,
I can't remember his name to save my life, but he was a D5. He goes over and says, damn, man, he said, I thought that was the burn.
Hey, people, how many times did you go to the war zone? You didn't get burned out?
No, thank God, man.
Cause 3 times. That's a long time, Pete.
Well, yeah, I mean the worst, like almost got killed in a suicide attack in Mosul and Chow Hall, and I got just as lucky as hell. And I had a mission brief. We're going back out to Home Bridges.
Right.
Cross out most of the Tigers, I think it was. But we were going back out. I was going out to Bridge 5, and I was with Charlie Company, Seco, and we were going out to Home Bridges, and we had a mission brief, and I want to say it was at 1300. And I was with this guy named Staff Sergeant Corps, and he was prior Marine Corps, and I said, we're going to go in here, Chow, grab your Chow, and we're going to leave. We're down this mission brief, and I got pissed off with that. I said, let's sit down and eat. And he said, no. He said, I told you to grab your shit and let's go. I said, all right. So I was mad. So I grabbed my food, and we went out the door, and the guy had gotten in there, and he was apparently dressed as a rifleman. So he was hit C4 or something in his vest and detonated on us. And he ended up killing. He killed 2 of my guys, and Reverend Sergeant Mason, and wounded a whole bunch of our people. But everybody in the first 2 or 3 tables, and this is where we always sat. Everybody there got massacred.
Right.
And I was sitting right there where he detonated, and I was sitting back every day, ever since I came home. And I said, by the grace of God, man, because had I sat down and ate lunch, I would have been dead. There's no question in my mind I would have been killed.
Right.
I would have gone. No way would I walk away from that one. I was too close to it.
Right.
And the funny thing about it is, the mission brief got pushed back to 1330, and we didn't know. They didn't tell us.
All right.
And when I saw Vernon Mason sitting there with Seco, and they're supposed to be with us, and it just didn't click on me. Why aren't you guys down at the mission brief? And I just looked at him and waved over. I said, I see you all the time.
Right.
And that was it. It was the last time I ever seen him alive.
Well, Pete, it's about time for us to close out this program, man. I don't learn a lot from you. And Pete, do you have anybody you want to give a shout out to?
One of my good friends, Jerry Alves. He was a sergeant. He was one of the first sergeants that joined me.
Okay.
And he was out there in California. And if he's listening, brother, I love you. And all my 8th ID people, man, all my pathfinders, forever in my heart, and for all my engineers, that stay honest.
All right, Pete. I want to thank you for coming on. And Pete, once we get up the hair, don't hang up now. But I'll talk to you a few more seconds. But I appreciate you coming on and telling your experience, being in the military. All right, to all my listeners, you just heard from the great Pete Williamson, and I hope my host Thomas Luke can be back next week. Hey, Pete, but knowing Thomas, he probably landed in a foxhole somewhere. I know he gonna curse me out when he hear this. But Thomas, we miss you today, and we hope to have you back on next week. All right, so until next week, we'll be back with you next week at the same time. So good night, everyone. Hey, Pete.